And then, of course, when they're coming back, they carry, who knows, anyway. But it was interesting because I covered Congo for some time, went through Goma, Kisangani, and all these places. And it was interesting, but again, psychologically frustrating for me. Telling my story, my pictures and everything, and for the editor to just write something small would really, it never worked well for me. I mean, you're trying to tell a story, people suffering, people dying, but people here were not really understanding it that way. So I decided, you know what, to hell with that, let me just go back to Parliament.
Okay.
So go back to Parliament, where I kept on reporting until I also got a little, I just felt I needed to change whatever was happening in my life. So I met someone who really confused me and ran off to the UK, and I decided, hey, I have to chase this person. So this random day I get to Parliament and a friend of mine tells me,
person who confused you
we won't talk about the names.
Who made you run all the way to the UK?
I won't talk about the names, but I remember going back to Crying House and crying in the toilets, and Andrew Mwenda telling me, hey, boss, it happens to everyone, you can survive. I went with Andrew Mwenda to Makerere on that day to do a talk, but I still felt I wasn't content. So I came back, went to the British High Commission at Parliament Avenue at the time, got visa papers, went to my dad, told him, you know what, Dad, I think it's time for me to go and hustle a little bit. You know, Cheyo, you know, it's going to happen. My dad laughs at me, says, look at his boy. Mama Jimmy, come and listen to your son. Repeat. You want to go where? to do what? Yeah.
But he didn't know the motivation.
No, I mean, he still wasn't happy about me not being in school.
Yes.
Remember, my
And
peers,
like a year.
my peers are now in their third year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's a little tricky for me. So I decided to sort out my, get my money sorted and sort out my paperwork and all the stuff and whatever. Get my visa fee and everything. So I rock up at the British High Commission with my uncle at about 9 p.m. My young uncle, Uncle Trevor, cool guy. On that day he was a fake guy, but he's a cool guy. Uncle Trevor, quite an interesting guy. It's 9 o'clock, I'm the second guy in the queue. I'm like, Uncle Trevor, you know what, let me just go and sleep at my offices here at Crown House, and I'll come back and, 3 o'clock and we can manage this interview. Come back at 3, Uncle Trevor has sold my place and my other place and my other place to another guy to another place. I'm like 100 and something at the end.
No.
But Uncle Trevor is happy we have money. That was what he wanted. He was a businessman.
But yeah.
Anyway, we are seated there, waiting in the queue, and people are cramming. Big Ben. Oh, okay. London Eye. Okay. We're cramming, Morning comes, Muzungu comes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 120. Comes up to 120 and he's like, okay, the rest of you? I'm like, oh, okay. So I get in. I'm like 113 or something. Hey, Christo, the failure rate on that day. What? Hey! Tewampade. I just learned the word apparently. Now, this is 1 o'clock. I'm tired. I'm disgusted. I'm bored. I don't even give a damn if I get it or not. I just want to get out of that place. Because it was a cage. Huh? You only get out after. I go into the booth. Hello, mate. Hello. So what are you planning? Where are you planning to go? I say, apparently I'm planning to go to the UK. I said, apparently? I say, yeah. I said, okay. So who's going to take care of your costs and everything? Apparently my uncle. Guy says, you know what, mate? Come back tomorrow for your visa. He must have been tired, bored.
He was
like,
tired, you were tired.
Yeah.
He's like, this one.
Yeah. So I come back I get out. My Uncle Trevor is waiting out there and we have money. Hey, we went
And you got the visa.
Hey, we got the visa. Went to a place called Four Seasons next to City Bar at the time. Hey, we drank all that money. We bought beers for people we don't even know. It was a nice time. It was a nice time. But anyway, what was so interesting was I go back the next day, I get my visa, and go to my father telling me, Dad, I've done the heavy lifting. Sort me out with an air ticket, man. My dad laughs at me again. He says, boss, school. So school wasn't an option for me. I had to go. And now my mind frame was on leaving. I had to go. 6 months visa, yeah? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, all gone. I'm still here. And remember, I had a small shack in Namuwongo with my small TV and small fridge, and I sold all that stuff to look for money. But that money disappeared so fast because when you're looking for money, you have to pause, and it's like a reconnaissance, But while you're recognizing or while you're reflecting, you're drinking the same money, right?
Oh my God.
So,
So 5 months.
yeah. So back to Roland now. You remember Roland from Wiri? He was living in Livingston Hall, and he had this friend who would give us her car every weekend. We took the car to a money lender. It's a bit it's a bit embarrassing, but we took the car to a money lender in Makindye, and he gave us 2 million shillings. I know I say
This
that.
is bad.
It's
This is
bad.
so bad.
I know. But yeah, we took the car to a money lender. Gave us 2 million shillings, and we came down to Kimathi Avenue and got an air ticket. And it was with the cheapest flight at the time, which was Gulf Air. So from here, you had to use KQ to Nairobi, and Nairobi, Gulf Air to Bahrain, and Bahrain to. So I go back to Livingston to spend the night, and there was this guy in Livingston Hall who had an old car, 3-4 gears, I think, or whatever. And Roland was like, "That's the car that we're going to use to drop you to the airport. Don't worry, man. We got it sorted." Hey, Christo, it rained. It rained. That night, it rained. Hey. I remember we first went to TLC. There was a bar called TLC on George Street. Then went and slept. It rained so much that the car failed to start. We pushed it up and pushed it down. The car failed to start. So I walked from Livingston Hall down to Kubiri. Kubiri, got a taxi to the park where the Entebbe taxis park on the side. From there, got a taxi to Chitoro. And that time, the border borders would go all the way to departures. Rocked up at departures. Chitenje shirt, corduroy trousers, boots. My backpack I was traveling light. Spare boxer, Bible, and a novel.
What time of year was this?
January. Look, I didn't care about winter. I was going. I get to the airport and this lady's like, "One of Anna Mukiriza." Her supervisor comes and says, "Muleka genda ye." I was sitting in the lounge, KQ, Nairobi, Bahrain. Guy said, "Oh, sir, the flights are in the morning to the UK, so you have to sleep." I'm like, "What? You guys understand that we got time issues, man." Anyway, I go, they put me up in this nice hotel room. Hey, it was nice, it was fancy. I told them to give me a wake-up call, but I couldn't sleep because it was such a fancy hotel. So many channels, towels for everything. I think for your ear, for your hair. I was like, wow, we have to relive this experience. Yo, morning comes, going to get into the plane, fly to London, Heathrow, Terminal 3. We arrive. Terminal 3 that time, or the immigration desks that time, were quite interesting. They were not overly laced with security and all this stuff, So you had one desk here, another one over there, and When I arrived, the immigration ladies were gossiping about a TV show the night before.
Okay.
So they never had the time to really scrutinize my papers or anything. So, boom, welcome to the UK.
And
I'm
you're
like,
in.
what? Okay, we're in the UK. Okay, so I walk, arrival area. Remember, I haven't told anyone clearly whether, because I never thought I was really arriving, but I had arrived now. Taxi guy comes and I'm like, again, my friend Roland had given me £20, but in UGX. If you remember those 20,000 Uganda shilling notes, I had 4 of them. I arrived with that money. I had forgotten to change the money. So anyway, taxi guy comes and I'm like, Nigerian guy, I'm like, boss, you're my brother. My aunt is expecting me. So take me to 12 Connaught House, St. Agnes Place, S11 4AY, London. My auntie will be expecting me. How much is your fee? £35. My auntie will pay you. Just take me.
Previously on Crystal One-on-One.
I think we all have an idea of what we want to be, where we want to go. You may not have figured out the how. I was never those people with a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan. And like I said, I honestly just knew I wanted to be happy. I don't care what he was doing. Driving a truck, if that's what makes me happy, Crystal, I'm going to drive that truck. if playing drums is what makes me happy, I think that's something probably the Western world has figured out, especially when it comes to their children, supporting their dreams. Like, I don't care what your child says they want to be, they have found a way to make it work for the child to enjoy their gifting, their talent, their ability, but also be able to spin that into coin. Well, for us, maybe I think our generation is a bit different.
Arrive at my auntie's house. I'm like, hey, but now how do I know it's my auntie's house? Guy says, no, you go to the bazaar, you press number 12. I say, okay, go press. Doop. My auntie still has a very strong Lango accent, you know. So, meh, hello, hello, auntie, hello. It's Junior. Ah, Junior who? I said, Junior Otoa. Say, ah, what are you doing here? I said, auntie, I'm here to see you, man. She's excited. Ah, I'm like, hey, but auntie.
You need to sort this guy out.
Pays him, lays a mattress in a sitting room, and we start talking. How is this guy? How is this guy? My auntie's expecting OD, some dry fish. Hey, I traveled light. We talk. 1 week passes, my visa runs out. My auntie's not excited about me chilling in her house, just scratching my head and doing nothing. Every time you go to the toilet, she's thinking, water bill. Time you're watching TV, electric bill. I'm like, you know what?
No, but that's the life there.
I
man.
know. So I decided to get a job. My first job was at a car wash. I washed cars, man. My boss man, Huntington, was a funny guy. Huntington, you know, my back would ache. You know, that's why I respect a lot of these cannabis guys. My back would ache and the guy would say, oh, go home and open up a bathtub of warm water. I'm like, does this guy know where my home is or who I live with? Anyway, man, we would feed on KFC, lunch, breakfast. Man. It was crazy. But what was interesting, though, was I did that for close to 1 month and a half, paid back Roland's money. He managed to pick up his car. Hey, you know how you wash a car in winter and your hand just freezes like that? And the guy says, oh, just go put it into warm water. You put it in warm water, and the guy says, come back.
Whoa.
It was quite interesting. I decided, no, I'm not going to be outdoors, man. This is not for
This is
me,
not working.
man. Come on. I told my dad I'm going to be a hustler, but a decent hustler at least. No. I mean, not
Hey,
doing
beggars
this.
can be choosers.
Yeah, well, sometimes they can if they're persistent. So I decided to look for peppers. That time you had to look for peppers to get jobs. I get peppers and go and work at a restaurant called TGI Fridays. When I get there, the guy asks me, oh, so have you worked in the kitchen before? I'm like, nah, but I'm willing to learn. Just show me how. I can cook anything if you show me how. I was like, nah, we'll start you off on the dishwasher. Yo, the dishwasher was a long machine, like from here to that side. They would bring in plates, you first, clean them up,
Then you-
pile them, make them, then run the other side, pick them up, clean them, take them to the different stations. Hey, it was work. And I was with a Gambian, so we were lost in translation most of the time. Oh, my friend, we were lost in translation. Anyway, so months pass, over 8 months.
And you're still working at this restaurant?
Yeah, over 8 months, I graduate to making salads and sandwiches now.
Okay.
So I make salads, sandwiches, amazing stuff in the cold station. It was called the cold station. You make all these, BLT sandwiches and all this stuff, and all the fancy stuff, Cajun salad and Caesar salads, and it was nice. I then graduate and move to the salter station, making pastas and all this stuff, and climbing the league now. Cajun cream chicken and all this
Are you
stuff.
enjoying yourself?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I had no choice. Sometimes you have no choice, you gotta enjoy yourself. But I was enjoying it, I was learning.
When you're contributing to
Yeah.
the bills?
Oh yeah. And by now, I'm thinking of leaving my auntie's house because I need to be independent. So I moved to the fry and then to the grill. And now when I moved to the grill, I am really good at grilling. I become really good at grilling. Medium rare steaks and ribeye steaks and all this stuff. And hey, I got so good that I would get asked to go and cover shifts in Covent Garden or Blue Water, one of the biggest malls in Europe. I was really good at what I was doing. I moved away from my auntie's house. Some Ugandan guy had given me a small room. It wasn't actually a room. It was a clock room. I couldn't even
Like
fix
just
a,
enough space for the
yeah,
bed, huh?
I couldn't fix a bed or anything. I couldn't even have ladies coming over. I had to go to Argos to buy an airbed with a foot pump. At 3 a.m., that airbed would be almost empty, so you'd have to wake up to pump it, you know? Pump it, pump it, pump it, pump it. And you know, cloakrooms don't really have heaters, so I had to go to Argos as well and buy a small heater. Yeah, it had a coil inside, so it's like a fan with a coil. Now, that heater had no regulator, so you have it on for 5 minutes, it's really hot. You take it off, it's really cold. So, in between your sleep, you oh man, it was something. But you see, that time taught me a lot, very much around humility, because I had to fend for myself. I was alone. I was me against the world. It was me and the world. My mother at the time was down with cancer. So what I would do is I would spend most of my money on her medication. You recall I told you when my dad had brought her for the first time and I got the tape recorder and all of that. So now her cancer is really getting crazy and she passes on. And part of me staying in the UK illegally for long was just because of my mother. I was the only guy who would bring in money to the family. My father was retired, remember? There's no money coming in. I was the money guy.
Yeah.
When she passes on, I look at how distressed my dad is and I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to go back to school. This is after 6 years of being out of school.
So this was like your gift to him?
My gift to him, but also something for me in terms of elevating. It was time for me to elevate.
So had it become clear to you that, okay, much as you were, thriving,
Yeah.
you needed those academic qualifications?
Yeah, because I mean, how much money was I earning? And how, I mean, there's a cup that you can earn at. There was a thing at the time called High Five, and there was another one, High Five and MySpace.com. Hey, man, my friends were working now. They had cars, and I was like, wait a minute, I need that life too. So I decided to go through UCAS to apply for university. Applied at Middlesex University, Greenwich University, and Oxford Brookes. And I got spaces in all of them. I then decided, you know what, let me just come back home, work on my student visa, and go back. But this is not believing I'm actually going to go back. So I became a moneylender with my savings.
Okay.
I came back, I became a moneylender. Crystal, everyone I lent my money never paid me back. I'm still looking for these guys, by the way.
No.
Yeah, including the lady who sold her land to Ham for that building in Ntinda. I don't know where she went, man. She has my money. Anyway, so I became a money lender, and it was the reality of losing my money that I decided, let me go back and check on my visa if it has actually come out. Because now the visa process was it had, I think, to go to Pretoria and come back. And I go, and I have my 3 years student's visa, and I'm like, wait a minute, we're going back as students. I sold everything I came back with, everything.
Okay.
Went back to the UK. That's when now I started doing the 3 jobs to earn for my studies. So I get my first job, I get my first degree. And as soon as I was about to graduate, I can actually show you the picture. I asked my dad to come and join me at the graduation. And it was one of those great days for me because it was just to give him that faith. That was graduation day. Yeah? You see the champagne? Hey, man, it was a good day. So from the hustling, from the kitchen, from all of that, I mean, for me, it was just about not giving up. You know, I mean, a lot of the time we just give up. It's like when you're digging a tunnel towards the gold, and then you just give up towards the end. And yet the gold is right there. So I think for me, it was just about persistence. And I managed to do that. And then, of course, go to Qatar, make some good money.
You worked there?
Yeah, and I decide, wait a minute, let me go back to school and do a master's again.
Okay.
To really, you know, elevate now. And I go back and do a master's in international law at the same university in Oxford. And I graduate and start working for Oxfam, GB, Oxfam, at the headquarters. I was doing a lot of school outreach and all of that. And then